Continuing along the road to Doomsday, we are on the fourth movie in Phase 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. And let me tell you, just about 20 minutes ago, I finished my rewatch of Endgame, and Guardians of the Galaxy is still my favorite MCU film during this rewatch. I love this movie. Before I give you my thoughts, if you would give me yours in the comment section, and while you're down there, if you wouldn't mind to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, and comment down below. Like I said, what is your opinions on this movie? That is the most important part on this road to Doomsday. And with that said, this is James Gunn's first comic book movie. Unless you count Super, which I don't. That movie was super weird. There's a joke about rape, and it's supposed to be funny. It's a weird movie. But I consider this one his first comic book movie, and he absolutely nails it. And no wonder why the Guardians trilogy is the best. His Suicide Squad movie is awesome, and Superman is a phenomenal film. He understands comic book movies, he understands characters, and he understands how to make you cry and how to entertain you throughout. This is a movie about a bunch of losers in Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, Groot. They're a bunch of losers. They're a bunch of lowlifes. One of them works for Thanos. And it makes you care for these characters the most. These characters are the most that I've ever cared about a character in probably any comic book movie of all time. And it all starts here. Chris Pratt, great as Star-Lord. I know a lot of people were very skeptical when that casting came. The guy from Parks and Rec, he still gets a lot of hate when he's casted in things, and I don't know why. Chris Pratt's great, and he's great in here, has great relationships with everybody, specifically Zoe Saldana, who plays Gamora. They have a phenomenal relationship, great chemistry. I do really like their relationship throughout this franchise. A big standout to me is Dave Bautista as Drax, and I know a lot of people give him crap now because he's the funny goober guy. I disagree with that sentiment, but this is not the video for that, because in this one, he is the guy who doesn't understand sarcasm, and he's funny, and he's got the funny lines, but he's also a guy who is dangerous. You fear him, and you feel for him, because he's a guy who suffered so much loss. And every decision he makes sense in the context of this movie. I think he's a great character, and is a character that allows Dave Bautista to show off his acting chops. Then you got Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket, and Vin Diesel saying 4 words. I am we Groot. Should have said it as I am Groot. Probably should have said it like that. Anyways, great cast all throughout. And the villain, Lee Pace, I think is a pretty good villain in Ronin. Another villain that a lot of people give him hate for because, yeah, his motivation isn't that compelling. He's a space racist. But I think Lee Pace plays this character very well. He is kind of, he can be scary at times and captures the stuff that you hate out of this character. The fact that he just wants to wipe out a whole race because. Speaking about the characters, every line that Rocket says in this movie, and pretty much in any Guardians of the Galaxy movie, is completely flipped on its head and makes me rethink this character after seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And Rocket just has some great lines, and that brings us to the script. The script is really good, where it has great dialogue between the characters, a compelling plot, stuff that makes sense. It sets up the rest of the MCU in a way that doesn't feel forced. It's got the emotional sequences, and that's all because of the script. Again, I probably could have just went back to when I said James Gunn understands these characters, because the script understands them and understands the emotions. And speaking of emotions, like I said, Rocket, every line he says after seeing Guardians 3 just hits on a different level. But it even hit before I watched that movie, where, you know, Rocket just feels like this creature, and just every line he says is gut-wrenching. And the dialogue between these characters, the stuff that Drax says, is heartbreaking. And then you get the Groot death, which is insane because I never in a billion years would think I would be bawling my eyes out at a tree dying. And I did. When I rewatched this movie, I bawled. And I'm not talking like steady tear runs down. I was crying because it is that compelling. You care about these characters. And it's a death that is built up to so perfectly in this movie, has that emotional payoff in this film, and it is perfect. The cinematography is great. This movie looks awesome. The action is really good. This is our first introduction into the cosmic level in the MCU, so all the plane sequences, all the cosmic goofy stuff that the Guardians of the Galaxy is, really works, and it feels like we're in the same universe as Captain America the Winter Soldier, but you've got all the goofy stuff. You've got a talking raccoon and a talking tree, and it just feels so real, and the action is so vibrant and fun. The third act is one of my favorite third acts in any MCU movie ever. And aside from that, back to the script that I keep referencing, because at its core, everything great about Guardians of the Galaxy goes back to a phenomenal script. The movie's funny. Like, it's really funny. James Gunn's humor works for me, unless you're the movie Super, which I talked about in the intro. Unless you're that movie, his humor really works, the relationship, the dynamic between everybody else, and there are genuinely really good jokes in this movie. So this might be the best comic book movie script of all time. Nobody ever complains about it, not even the Twitter incels that like to complain about everything. I've never seen any complaints about this movie, and it's so good. From the cinematography, the action, the characters, the dialogue, the humor, the emotions, everything works, and it feels like one of the most real comic book movies of all time, while also being a movie about stopping a space racist from using a stone to decimate an entire planet, with a talking raccoon and a talking tree. And that's what James Gunn can do. So, as of right now, and I know for a fact it's not going to change, because there's nothing in the multiverse saga that's as near as good as anything in the Infinity Saga. Scratch it, I'm not going to say near as good, but the Infinity Saga always cleared for me. This is going to be my favorite. This is going to be at the top of the list once we enter the Doomsday final MCU ranking when that movie releases. I love this one. I love it. I love this trilogy. I love James Gunn as a director. So, before I give you my final score, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, comment down below. What are your opinions on Guardians of the Galaxy? Do you love this one as much as I do? 2014, I went to see this one in the theaters with my family. It was my favorite movie for 3 years, and then Spider-Man Homecoming came out. And then when that movie came out, I called that one my favorite movie. But I'm going back to this one being my favorite MCU movie. Might be my favorite comic book movie of all time. With that said, Guardians of the Galaxy gets an A+ from me. I'm trying to think. Did I give anything else in this series an A? Did I give the Avengers an A+? I think I did. And I would keep that. But Guardians of the Galaxy, my favorite MCU project. So thank you guys for clicking on this video. And with that said, next up on the road to Doomsday, the Avengers sequel, Age of Ultron. Subscribe.